Hi there. Today we're going to talk about separating the what from the how, because there seems to be a confusion between the two. When you're driving towards a big goal in your life, a big change in your life, the what is all you, and it's something you already know. It's what you want. It's what would fulfill you. It's your higher purpose. It's what brings you joy. It's the hard work that you know you would be energized to do if you had the opportunity to do it, because it comes from inside you. It comes from your gut. And so I'm working on this passion project because I developed a methodology on myself to achieve big change in practical bite-sized steps that you can do every single day to pile drive that change into your life when you feel like your life has too many trains that have already left the station. It's hard to change your path in the midst of all the things life has going on. So the big separation is between the what and the how. And as I get input from people, noticed that, I have this aversion to woo-woo, except where woo-woo has true science. Woo-woo, there's a great book called The Science of Woo-Woo, I believe it's called. So there is real science. There are real things. There are hard outcomes you can achieve from what seem like softer inputs. I believe in those. I live those in many ways. But when you're driving towards big change in life, I've had people suggest that, there's this wonderful woo-woo retreat in California. There's this wonderful spa where you can go and hang out with people, and it's just a really positive vibe. This isn't where big life change happens. And that's what I want to separate, is the what from the how. Those kind of are truly momentary escapes. And sometimes you need those kind of woo-woo escapes, whether it's a vacation, a spa visit, a big conference that's just really about going there and not about the practical project management of the project of you. Sometimes it is part of your what, meaning sometimes, again, if you're living a life where too many trains have already left the station, you're stuck in a career, you're bound to finances, you have family members and commitments that need you and depend on you. You've made choices that seem unchoosable. Unchoosable. You might need to go to one of these retreats where you meet idea people and that sort of thing. And that is great. That is part of you defining your what, which is how do I get away from the noise of my current life in order to hear my gut, talk to people, and see what it is that really resonates with me in a practical, everyday way. This isn't, that would be so cool to do that. If it's an escape, it's an escape. We're talking about what is it you're going to do every day at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock a.m. until the evening for the rest of your life to make your life awesome and energized and purposeful. Very different from the 1 week escape where everybody cheers in the room and gets all rah-rah. And then you go back to Monday, and Monday sucks you into every old habit, every old response, every old groove. You fall into the grooves that are already created. And I worked on this hard on myself. It was 20 years, then 10 years, then 5 years, and it basically got harder and harder. As I said, you really have to rip apart every person, place, habit, environment, and thing, object that owns you in your life. And then you have to rebuild it from scratch. So if you need a woo-woo escape or a vacation or a spa week that has some spa weeks have a defined purpose, but sometimes it's really just to get away from your everyday life. If you need that, do that. But Kindedge is the how after that. Kindedge is step 1. Quite literally. Step 2, step 3, how do I bring this desire, this craving, this feeling, this higher purpose, this frustration, how do I bring it into today and literally cause myself to clear my desk, make difficult choices, look at my schedule, become a time tyrant about the project of me, and it's a process. So kind of is quite literal steps to go through making the choices. And once you get clear on the choices, then you literally do a comparison of what are all the other things that happen in my everyday life. Let's practically track those. And then let's analyze how we unchoose those. And as you start taking the practical action-oriented steps to unchoose those things that hijack your higher purpose, that make it seem impossible for you to go change your career or change your degree because, every night at 6 o'clock, I have to do this other thing. Well, how do you change that so you can go get your master's degree? How do you say no to the people that expect you to always say yes? How do you grow those skills? There's many important muscles that you need to start working. It's mind, physical body, systems, and soul. And all of these things are huge jobs that you have to do. And then you have to track them in a practical project management way. It's not inspo woo-woo for a week. It is not a book that collects dust on your bedstand. It's not inspo. It's not guru. It's the project of you. And you define the what by really getting in touch with your gut. And then we go through step-by-step process. I did this to myself because I let all of the other gurus and therapists and programs and methodologies lead me down their path, but it didn't work in real life. Because it didn't address the fact that, I'm not going to my goal over my kids. So how do I integrate those goals? How do I make these impossible seeming things possible? Well, we unchoose a certain vacation or a certain car, but then we regain time. There's a million of these really practical steps. And what you do is when you start tracking your behaviors and choices and time use day by day, you start to see the little accidents that you fall into and then where you are missing a few muscles. You see that you say yes to things you should say no's to. When you actually see today and every day planned out until you die, you start to go, that pattern I've created means that I now didn't achieve my goal this week, next week, and oh my gosh, I'm going to die with my higher purpose undone, my dream undone, my goal undone, or it's going to be delayed until I'm physically not able to do it. So it's so critical that you do what you need to do to get clear enough to know your what. And then my Kindedge process that I developed for myself and worked on myself is taking the craving, the desire, the gut, and then getting that into practical everyday terms and doing a business process called a gap assessment that I do with corporate communications, change management clients in big businesses. That change management gap assessment is where you start to say, this is what actually occurs today in money, in time, in schedules, in responsibilities, in all these practical categories. And in the future, this beautiful dream of a beautiful life, whether it's climbing a mountain, training for a marathon, starting a charity, making a movie, moving to the other side of the country or other side of the world, whatever that thing is you dream of, taking that desire and that gut feel and getting that as practically defined in every category of where might money be coming from? How might the minutes of my day be used? What is happening to all the other people in my life? What are the new skills I need to grow? It's very practical. And none of the other programs or methodologies that I used over 20 years did that closing of the gap in practical terms. That is why I've developed Kindedge. And that's why, and I realized when I looked at every business conversation, everything, it's all people who are the frustrations come from someone who is slightly misaligned with their career, slightly misaligned with their schedule, slightly struggling with choices that have been made for them that they didn't make. So any business, any project, any organization, any conflict, I always sit back there watching everybody in the room saying, I can see you need Kindedge. The process I did on myself, I can see you need it. I can see you need it. Every friend I talk to needs it. I said, I have a gut feel now that I want to produce this as a thing online that other people can use. When you close that gap, you get to where you want to be in real life. And a lot of these steps are about when you make a plan, doing the tough things in real life. And you see, that's really interesting. Now I notice when I need to ask for something really difficult like money from the family or money from a bank or whatever, I get butterflies in my stomach and I kind of want to avoid it. So I look busy. I try to be busy with other things. You're going to discover things about yourself when you take these, you walk out your front door to take this change step, to do something very different, to ask the world for something very different in your life. And then you learn, oh, that's the little switch in me that I need to change. That's the muscle I need to grow. And then I start, what I call digging a new groove. You have these new grooves, you fall into old grooves, you say yes to certain people, you're compliant, you do all these things. But when you dig a new groove and you start that first time of doing something differently, the next time is easier and the next time is easier. And quite literally, I have had moments where I will look at behavior, things I accepted 10 years ago, things I delayed 10 years ago, and the current me just wouldn't be able to stomach that. It's unconscionable. So I would ask, I wanted to clarify this because I've had people come to me as I talk about Kindedge and say, everything you're doing, it's just like this thing, this woo-woo retreat or this, blah, blah. And all those fun woo-woo, let's get with people ideas, that's great. Again, I embrace woo-woo. I live woo-woo. I can't not go to yoga. I can't not meditate. I believe in placebo, and the science says that literally certain placebo treatments do as much to lower your inflammatory cytokines as actual medicine, sometimes better. So I believe the application of woo-woo where it has science and it's proven. But it's very important to designate when are the times when you're going somewhere just to escape or just to block out the noise of the rest of your life, because maybe you don't even know your what yet. Maybe you don't even know what you crave. It's fine to do those things. But when you start to say, I actually want to move forward, I want next year to be different than this year. When you want to see that happen and not just get it delayed a year, that's where it comes down to getting really practical into the how, which is Kindedge, versus the what. And so in Kindedge, a huge part of it is experimentos. So there's the Kindedge steps very strictly, and then there's a whole Kindedge 360, which is the foundation, where I learned on myself, and I learned that I can't just work on this one goal of writing or whatever, because you have to be physically fit, quite literally. So then I had to say, wow, in order to get ready for just this one side project, this little hobby of mine, in order to do that, I have to go to the doctor and get a full physical. I have to get my hormones checked to make sure my energy is correct and get all my other measurement checked. I have to literally everything about you. You are a machine. We treat our cars as more important than all of us, the energy within us that we need to get up and push through a tough negotiation, a tough day, repeating a process that's difficult, that doesn't seem rewarding. I've been working with some SEO challenges, and when you get deep into the bowels of Google SEO things, you think, oh my gosh, there's this whole 280 more things, and then and that doesn't, okay, fine. And you get help with things, but there's certain things where you have to kind of define what it is you need help with. And so there's many times where I go, am I really doing this? But because I've just been to the gym, because I know I've got all of my health, I get body scans every year of full body density scans. So it's not just the doctor prescribed bone density, but I get my fat, my muscle to make sure that I'm continuing to build muscle, that I'm not gaining fat. I wear a continuous glucose monitor 3 months out of the year, which I pay for myself to make sure that I'm not working towards my diet is absolutely optimized. I've researched and done many diets over 20 years, but I've absolutely optimized it for me and for longevity. I've done deep research, made deep choices. I've done every type of trial and error, and I do what makes it so that when I wake up, I have energy. It's very early right now. I get up every day at 5:30, and I just drive forward energized when I wake up. All of these things are part of the Kindedge 360 that is the foundation for being physically fit, mentally fit, willfully fit, and systematically fit in order to drive whatever your thing is. And it might be that you want to move to a different country, whatever, but you need to have all these things. You can't be kind of on your last bit of energy. You can't be doing this as a side hustle. I have one of my products on kindedge.com. I have totems. When things get tough, you need a keychain or a t-shirt or something on your gym bag or a yoga towel that really inspires you as to why. And one of mine it says, life ain't no side hustle. So when you're doing this project of you, stop treating it as a side hustle. Make it a big project. And when somebody says, you're taking a week off of work to go do a physical at your doctor and to go get a body scan of your muscle mass, and you're spending $300 on a continuous glucose monitor. Yes, because I'm heavily invested in the project of me, and I hope you will did in the project of you. You're in charge of your what, and then I hope to help you if possible with your how. And as a side, I am not a coach. And that's another kind of like, people just jump to me and say, oh, you're a career coach or whatever, personal coach. I'm not a coach. I did this myself for me, on me, and now I want to share it. I'm trying to just be a writer, but to connect with other human beings, I have to use a lot of different ways to connect. And, but my comfort place is writing. So for many years, I've just been writing about the Kindedge process. But if anything, I think I might be a journey partner, meaning this is a forever journey for me. And I'm very happy to partner with others on this journey. Always drink water in the morning before you have your coffee, 60 minutes before you have your coffee. Adenosine. You have to to get any energy and got to get the good stuff out of your coffee. You know all this stuff. But I spend my life optimizing what it is I do in the morning. So the water is important. So I could also be considered just a change agent. So, a change agent is usually a thing, but a person could be a change agent too. However you want to see me, the only thing I'm careful about is please see Kindedge as the how, and see you and yourself as the owner of the what, the project of you, what needs to happen before you die, and the thing that won't happen unless you make a big change today and get that in motion. That is what I'm passionate about and trying to deliver. So please share your comments because I love to hear them. And if there's any way that you would like to engage, I'm happy. I'm not one to start kind of a Facebook group or anything like that, but I'm happy to if this is something that sounds beneficial. But please let me know if that is the truth. But what's key is what's really good is as I'm sharing more through social media videos, I am getting a lot of more conversation with people. And so it helps me understand. And when people assume that this is kind of a feely woo-woo thing, it helps me see myself in a mirror and my process and how I talk about my process. And perhaps because I'm female, I don't know, perhaps because I'm a mom, whatever, perhaps I convey these things as sounding softer than they are, but this is a practical project management thing. And the Kindedge process is making it kind, which is sustainable, something you will positively, joyfully come back to every day because it's a long process, but edge. It's pushing past your edge. There's no crying in baseball. Uncomfortable, you're still gonna get up and do it because you need to grow that muscle. And there are certain muscles in your life, emotional muscles, self-confidence muscles, gumption muscles, project management, discipline muscles, actual muscles in your legs and your arms. It might not look at it, but I do have muscles. You need to grow those muscles, and that's the edge. And there is some edge that you have not crossed yet because you're a little bit afraid of it. It's a little bit too big for you. You don't want to disappoint someone. You don't want to make such a big visible change yet. You don't want to make it visible to the rest of the world that you're trying to do this. You don't want to disappoint parents if you're trying to change your marital relationship and so on and so forth. You need to grow that muscle. And that is not soft and cuddly and sweet and huggy-wuggy. That is pushing past your uncomfortable edge and knowing that it's scary, but you're gonna do it because on the other side is unlocking the alternate ending to your life. And that's what I want for you. So I wish you peace. I hope you'll join me on this Kindedge journey. It's not gonna be easy, but it's gonna be fun. Thanks.